Hello and welcome to the first episode of Brewing with Tobias. The reason why I'm doing this is because Dragons of Tarkir is about to be released, and it has two very interesting cards which are no reprints, which are brand new. And I'd like to do a brewing video with the community, with you. And the goal of this video will be a working deck, and I have not done a video like this before. It's some sort of spoiler talk, I guess, but it has a different goal in mind. And if you like videos like this, give me a feedback. Give me a feedback if you don't like videos like this, then I won't do them again. I won't bother you with them again. But right now I want to talk about some new cards which are about to be released in Dragons of Tarkir, and the first of these is Foul Tongue Shriek. And it's a very interesting card for only 1 black mana. You can make your opponent lose life for each attacking creature you control, and you will gain that much life. So very interesting. The more creatures you have, the better this card will be. So it obviously works well with tokens. And the second card that gets my imagination going is Impact Tremors, which is very good. It's red. It's a red enchantment for converted mana cost 2, so very cheap. And it will damage your opponent for every creature that enters the battlefield. And that's also pretty interesting with tokens. And red and black are getting token spells. Red has many goblin token spells that work. And the second expansion to Khans of Tarkir, Fate Reforged, already had a card that changed an existing deck, mono white tokens, or tokens in general has harsh sustenance now, and Foul Tongue Shriek is pretty much the same. So we are looking at a 3-color combination here, white, black and red, or the Mardu colors that have interesting mechanics now with tokens, and I will focus this video on these 3 colors. And I want to go color by color, because white right now has the best token generating cards in Pauper, and it has the best ways of protecting the tokens from being destroyed. And red has the second best token producing cards and has gained Impact Tremors, and black in my opinion does not have any interesting token generating cards, but has these very interesting 2 spells here. So we are going to talk about white token generating cards first. Yeah, let me just piece them together for you. So I want to talk about token generating cards in white, and the first one I'm presenting you, which you probably all know, is Raise the Alarm. It's very nice because it's an instant and it produces 2 white soldier creature tokens. And at this converted mana cost, it's just awesome, and much in favor for playing white here. Second one is a card only available online. It's Battle Screech, and it's already in the white token deck. It has converted mana cost 4. It produces 2 white bird creature tokens with flying, and it has flashback. And you can just tap 3 untapped white creatures, but they have to be white, that's the drawback, to flashback the cards and get 2 additional bird creature tokens. And the third card, very interesting as well, is Triplicate Spirit. Triplicate Spirit, my god, hard to pronunciate. It's a 6 mana card. Converted mana costs 6, but it has Convoke, so it gets cheaper for every token, every creature you tap, and it puts 3 white creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. Pretty nice, pretty impressive with Impact Tremors or Foul Tongue Shriek. And the fourth white card, which is more or less just an honorable mentor, is Gather the Townsfolk, because it's just a bad Raise the Alarm. It has only sorcery speed, it's converted mana cost 2 as well, and it puts 2 white human creature tokens onto the battlefield without flying. Only interesting thing about Gather Townsfolk is if you have 5 life or less, you get 5 creature tokens onto the battlefield, which might be nice, but 5 life is pretty much dead to burn. So that's the white token generating cards I wanted to show you. Next up are the red token producing spells, and the first card I'm showing you is Dragon Fodder. Here is a nice new picture from Dragons of Tarkir. It's a reprint, and it puts 2 red goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield and costs converted mana cost 2. So it's pretty much like Raise the Alarm at sorcery speed. And Krankos command is pretty much the same spell with a different name. Converted mana cost 2, sorcery speed. Brings you 2 red goblin creature tokens. The next card is more interesting. It's called Daughter Rebirth, which is performing very well in the Boros Kitty deck. All it requires is an additional artifact which you have to sacrifice in order to be able to cast this amazing spell for just 1 mana, and it produces 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens for converted mana cost 1, and that's awesome. In Pauper you have the artifact lands from Mirrodin, and Great Furnace can produce 3 tokens turn 1. You have Chromatic Star, you have Terrarion, so you have a lot of spells that interact well with Daughter Rebirth, and this will give headaches to your opponent if you have Impact Tremors already in play. And the fourth card is a card only available online. It was printed in Vintage Masters edition online, and it's a common there. It's relatively expansive at converted mana cost 4, but it gives you 3 creatures and has no drawback. Just 4 mana for a 2/2 Goblin Warrior that comes with 2 red Goblin creature tokens. And I forgot 1 card. I'll be back in a sec. And the card in red that I forgot is Mog War Marshal. And he is pretty much like Krankos Command or like Dragon Fodder at converted mana cost 2. He produces 2 1/1 creatures. He is slightly better because he will produce an additional creature if he dies, but he has the drawback of you requiring to pay echo cost in the following turn you play him. So he has advantages against sacrifice effects, but he has disadvantages because if you don't pay the echo cost, the creature token that enters the battlefield won't be able to attack this turn. So that sums up the red creature token producing spells, and I'll be back with the black ones in a second. So I'm back with the black creature producing creature token producing spells, and this is it. You're looking at it. Warren Weirding is the only one I feel is worth mentioning, and it works only with goblins because you can force yourself to sacrifice a creature token, probably Mog War Marshal, and because a goblin is sacrificed, you will get 2 black goblin rogue creature tokens, and if you sacrifice your Mog War Marshal, you'll get 3 goblin tokens, 1 red one and 2 black ones. So this might be a sneaky little combo way. Of course, you can force your opponent to sacrifice a creature as well. So this spell has 2 useful applications, so to speak, if you are going for the red goblin token plan. Okay, next up are the cards that will help you on your way, and again we are starting with white. So, white creatures that will help you on your token way. Most of them are borrowed from White Weenie, because it's much the same mechanic behind the deck. First one is Loyal Cathar. He is hard to kill, but he has 2 white manas to cast, which might be hard in a 2-colored or even 3-colored deck. But if he's killed, he'll come back as a transformed zombie creature, so he works well with the token plan. Second creature is Doomed Traveler. Again, hard to kill. If he dies, he produces a token, which might help you, and at converted mana cost 1, this is very good. The next two are the same creature, Soul Warden and Soul's Attendant, and they are pretty well known. You will, of course, already know them. They have their own deck, Soul Sisters, and they just gain you a ton of life for every creature that enters the battlefield. And they are awesome. Play them if you're playing white. And the last two I want to mention are the same card as well, Veteran Armorer and Veteran Armor Smith. And they make your tokens hard to kill. Veteran Armor Smith has the drawback of costing 2 white manas, but he's a little bit bigger than the Veteran Armorer. The Veteran Armorer fits easier into a 2-colored deck, and he will make your creatures sufficiently hard to kill. Your tokens will be protected against Shrivel, they will be protected against Electricity, so this is a very good reason to go for the white token plan. So, I will be back shortly with the red cards. I should stop telling you that I will be back shortly because I'm pausing, and there will be no time lapse for you, so maybe I can stop this. So next are the red cards that go along with tokens. I'm starting the red cards with cards you should not play. First of all, Banners Raised. It looks good on first glance, but it's a spell that pumps your creatures power. All of your creatures will get +1/+0 for 1 red mana, and it looks like a good deal, but it only gets interesting if you have at least 4 creatures. If you have 3 creatures and only 3 creatures, Lightning Bolt will still be better, because Lightning Bolt just deals 3 damage directly to your opponent for 1 red mana, and your 3 creatures have to deal damage for this card to have a benefit. So it's a bad card, don't play it. You'll need at least 4 creatures to make it work, probably more. And the second card I'm showing you is Massive Raid. Don't play Massive Raid, it's converted mana cost 3, and there's just a cheaper one that has the same effect. Massive Raid deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of creatures you control, and the same is true for Mob Justice. Mob Justice is sorcery speed, but it's cheaper. It costs only converted mana cost 2, and it deals 1 damage to target player for each creature you control, and that is what you want to do. It's cheap, and it will kill your opponent quickly. So this works. Next card I'm going to show you is Goblin War Romps. If he lets me, yeah, my computer lets me. Goblin War Romps, interesting enchantment for converted mana cost 3, because it will make your creature tokens hard to be blocked. It's a sideboard card, obviously, but a nice one. You have to look at it. Okay, off to, come on, a Weapon Search. Weapon Search is, in my opinion, it's no good card, but I wanted to show it to you, and it is much like Banners Raised. It gives your creatures 1 more power and first strike, but it's only worth playing if you have at least 4 creatures, so don't play it. It's not a good card. Next card, again, interesting, Raid Bombardment. Raid Bombardment is better than the card I just showed you, because you will deal damage whether or not your creature deals damage, and it's okay with tokens. I don't know, I cannot see if you can play Raid Bombardment and Impact Tremors in the same deck, because they do pretty much the same, and Raid Bombardment just costs more, but it's a card you have to keep in mind. Next card is another sideboard card, Hissing Iguana. He is okay if your opponent is going to kill your creatures, because whenever another creature dies, Hissing Iguana will deal damage to your opponent, and if you have 7 or more creatures on the battlefield, your opponent will have to think twice before killing your creatures, because that will be 7 or more damage to him. So keep him in mind, he's good. And the next card I'm showing you, you can see it already here. This card is brutal, Goblin Bushwacker. He will give your tokens haste and he will pump their power and he will be able to attack himself, and you probably all know him well and fear him if you play against decks that run him. He is trouble. He will push your tokens over the edge. If you're going for the red token plan, play him. Next up, black cards. And again, black only has the support role in this possible deck type. Foul Tongue Shriek and Harsh Sustenance are only two directly are the two black cards that directly are involved with creature tokens. Everything else black can do for you is the typical discard cards or destroy creatures. You have Terminate, you have Janus Edict, you have Diabolic Edict, and so on. So black is a nice supporter, but it does not add anything to your creature token mechanic. So keep that in mind when you're playing black. And finally, I forgot to mention the pump spells. We have War Flare, which came new in Fate Reforged. It's a 4 mana cost instant that pumps your creatures and untaps those creatures, so it's nice. But it is not as good as Guardian's Pledge if you're going for a white creature token deck with just Splash Red or Splash Black for Impact Tremors or Foul Tongue Shriek, because this is 1 mana cheaper and it pumps the toughness more, so it's better. If you're going for a mix of red and white creatures, then the spell you want is Righteous Charge, which has the disadvantage of costing double white, but it gives all your creatures +2/+2 and ignores the color, but it's got only sorcery speed. So keep it in mind when you are casting Righteous Charge. So, I've gone through all the cards. Here I made a screen for you and I wrote them all down. And as you can see, white and red clearly are the winners. So I'm expecting to see a Boros token deck very soon. But Foul Tongue Shriek and Harsh Sustenance might have their right to influence an white-black token deck or a red-black token deck. And I'd be happy to see either one. I think Goblin tokens with Foul Tongue Shriek might be worth playing. You can combine Foul Tongue Shriek and Impact Tremors with all the spells here. And you can, of course, combine any white cards with all these. And I've written these down so that you can pause the screen. And if you want to look up any of the cards, you don't have to watch the complete video again. And of course, I only wrote down the cards that have a direct influence on tokens. All the other good black and red cards, or the good white cards, or the good two-color cards are not mentioned here, but you will need them in order to play the deck. I cannot imagine that you're going to play a red deck without Lightning Bolt, for example. And if you're going for black and red, you might want to run Terminate, because Terminate is one of the best removal spells in the format. So keep this in mind if you're going to make a deck list out of my short video here. And please give me some feedback in the comments if you want me to continue doing brewing videos, or if I should stop this, and if it's okay with all the many pauses that I made, or if you can't follow my thoughts. So please give me feedback. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for